Hey guys, Tammy here, and in this video, I'm going to talk about holidays are confusing, aren't they? And I know we're only in September, and I don't know about you, but I feel like, oh my goodness, Halloween stuff is out everywhere, and probably another 2 weeks here, we're going to be seeing Christmas stuff, and the holidays just start to come so fast, and we all get so busy. But the other thing that happens is I get tons of phone calls about interpreting the schedules, and this seems to be a really confusing piece for most people. And it also can be a source of conflict because it's not only confusing for you, it's confusing for your ex. And then if you're interpreting the order differently, then now we got a problem and, we don't know what we're going to do to solve it, so to speak. Let me remind you, if you like my content, please hit like on this video. Also subscribe to the channel so that you get notified as, I said that too quickly, didn't I? So that you get notified as new videos are released. And also, as always, please feel free to share this on your social media. So many parents navigating all of these little pitfalls. And so we need all the help we can get, right? So just share, put it out there. The first thing that you want to do is pull out a copy of your order. I can't tell you how many people will send me a question about a scheduling issue or whatever. And then I'm like, well, what does your order say? And they're like, I don't know. Okay, you haven't even gone back and looked at the order? Well, no, I just know it's my year for Thanksgiving. Well, okay, but what does it exactly say? Does it have transition times? Does it have this? Does it have that? Give yourself that refresh. Go look at almost every single question that somebody asks. The very first thing I ask them is, what does your order say? And I would say 90% of the time, they aren't sure. They don't know for sure because they haven't looked at it in so long. So that's the first thing you want to do. Now, for me, what I did, particularly with Thomas's kids, and, I talk about his stuff more because they had that traditional like 50-50 and rotating holidays and all that. My kid's dad honestly really didn't show up a whole lot. So most all of it was mine. And then when Christmas would come, I would just kind of let him, whatever he wanted to do, I'd let him have it and I'd work around him. And I still kind of do that most of the time. But with Thomas's kids, we had a very specific schedule and it rotated. So what I did is I sat down and I took their court orders and I essentially made a little sheet, a little chart. That's the word I'm looking for. A little chart that had the holiday and then the transition times and hours and what dates and all that kind of stuff. And I just made a little compact chart that I could put up on the file cabinet and just leave up there year round, so that we didn't have to go pulling court orders and looking for them every time. So you may find it useful to sit down and do something like that. So let me try to give you an example of this because people get really confused. So let's say that you guys rotated Thanksgiving, okay? And for this example, I'm just going to say, let's say that mom has Thanksgiving for even years, okay, 2024. And let's say that, they always have two parts, which is how the holiday is rotated. It's usually odd or even. And then the second part is, what is that holiday defined as? For some people, Thanksgiving might be Friday after school through Monday, like the following a week and a few days later, like 10 days later, Monday morning drop off at school. It could be that whole like 9-10 day spread. Sometimes it's from Wednesday evening until Monday morning drop off at school. I've also seen it just be like Wednesday evening to Friday morning or Wednesday evening to Saturday morning, where the parents are splitting the weekend. So the first thing you have to look at is, what is that holiday defined as from a day or an hour perspective? In this example, I'm just going to say, let's assume that Thanksgiving is from Wednesday evening, pick up at school, like 3 p.m. or whatever, until drop off at school at 8 a.m. on Monday morning. Okay. Let's say that it was mom's regular weekend, because usually our weekends rotate between the parents, right? Regardless of your parenting schedule, usually the weekends rotate for almost everybody, unless you have something that's kind of been custom done because of your work schedule. But let's just say that mom's weekend was the weekend before Thanksgiving. So mom had, let's say the parents are on like a 2-2-3, okay, for this example. So mom had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the weekend before. And so Monday, Tuesday would be dad's days that week. And then Wednesday, Thursday would be mom's days that week. Well, then the holiday starts on Wednesday after school. Well, Wednesday is already one of mom's days, so it's not going to disrupt that schedule. Wednesday and Thursday are mom's regular days that week. She'll still have them. But now, if Thanksgiving is defined as until Monday morning, then mom is also going to have the child all the way through Friday, Saturday, Sunday until Monday morning. And then dad is going to lose that weekend because the holiday overrides whatever that holiday time frame is. It overrides the regular schedule. It's just like cutting it at both of those points and laying it over top of your regular schedule. So what I see parents do a lot of times is they'll go, well, so mom had her weekend and then mom had Thanksgiving. So then the weekend after Thanksgiving, that would be mom's normal rotation again, right? If we were continuing. But a lot of people come back and go, oh, well, that's now dad's weekend because we alternate. So mom had Thanksgiving. So now it should be dad's weekend the weekend after if we're going to switch it off. No, because the regular schedule resumes. So that next weekend is still mom's weekend. So because of the holiday, mom will get 3 weekends in a row if that's how it's defined. If the example I gave is how everything is defined. Now, people get really upset about this. This is how it works. And what I will tell you about it is usually I find it comes out in the wash. So, for example, in our case, we would have a year or two where mom got most of the extra time for the holidays. But then the next year, that extra time would all be around our holidays. So it would kind of flip-flop, but it sort of flip-flop more on an annual basis than necessarily a monthly or weekly or daily basis. And, sometimes people get really paranoid about, oh, well, I'm not getting my 50% or I'm not getting this or that. And they'll get really upset. Look, you don't need to worry about that. Okay. The holidays are a normal flip-flop. The court doesn't consider that, oh, you've got 51%. We're going to change custody now. They don't do that. Okay. That's why it's set up on a rotating basis because of that very reason, because the court already knows that this is what's going to happen to the calendar, that chunk is going to override and somebody's going to get extra or less time. Like somebody usually gets more and somebody usually gets less. And that'll come back around usually the next year or a couple years later or whatever, depending on your schedule. If you have Thomas and I had an exact week on, week off, 50-50 schedule. And so in our case, most times it would kind of waver year to year. But depending on that schedule, sometimes it takes longer than that. For instance, his children's birthdays, for some reason, were not designated in their agreement. Now, one of his sons is born on Christmas Eve. So with him, it was no big deal because it fell into the Christmas holiday. So whoever had the Christmas holiday had his birthday. The other son is at the end of November. And I think their thought of it was, well, it'll just fall with Thanksgiving, only it doesn't always. Sometimes Thanksgiving is earlier. So we had a period of about 5 or 6 years where his birthday fell on mom's parenting time every year. But then the next 5 or 6 years after that, his birthday fell on our parenting time. So it still cycled. It was just a longer cycle than what it would have been. Now, you probably have your children's birthdays in there. That probably wasn't an oversight. It's not for most people. Most of the time it's defined in there. But I'm just saying, don't sweat the small things like that. What the court is wanting you guys to do is to cooperate and to make sure that both, that the children are having involvement of both parents and traditions in both households and all that. You want to be flexible and be accommodating. I've had times where because of the transition or the way the holidays fall, we'll end up with like maybe 1 or 2 days where the kids would have come back to us. And remember, we typically had a week on, week off schedule. So I would just say to her, look, it's only an extra day or two. Do you want to just keep them for the whole time? And then, maybe we can take 2 extra days on the front end of the Christmas holiday when it comes up, or whatever. So like in our case, if that had been mom's weekend the weekend before, and then we had Monday, Tuesday, and then the Wednesday, Thursday, because it was our regular week, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they'd be going to her because of the holiday. I probably would have just told her to take the Monday, Tuesday and keep them. And then I would have tried to see if we could add it back in for our Christmas break and pull 2 days from there. And that way we don't have the children flip-flopping back and forth all the time. It's longer stretches for them. And I know some people don't like that. They go, well, I don't want to go that long without seeing my child. I understand, but you also have to consider what creates the most consistency for your child. And most children don't like being flopped back and forth. Even before they're able to verbalize it, most children do not like that. And that's why we have the acting out and all the different things that kind of come with that. It's good to try to be flexible and try to set things up reasonably to create the most stability and opportunity for fun and enjoyment, participation in both worlds that you can manage for your child. That should really be the focus. Okay. The big thing that you want to do when you are, trying to coordinate with the other parent, because I know as soon as I say that, people are like, they're not going to agree to anything. If you're dealing with a narcissist, I know it's difficult. I know how true it is, but let me give you this one tip. When you send them alternatives, like if you say, hey, I was thinking maybe I could keep them Monday and Tuesday so that they don't have this transition back and forth between us a couple of times. It'll make it a little smoother for them. I know that's a little bit longer stretch of time that you'll be away from them, but I was thinking maybe you'd like to have a couple extra days on your Christmas holiday, or if you'd like, maybe the weekend following Thanksgiving, you can have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, since you'll be going a longer stretch without seeing them. Give them 2 options. If you can come up with 2 alternatives that you're perfectly fine with either one, give them 2 options, because when you're dealing with a narcissist, that makes them feel in control when they get to choose, when they're getting to be the one to make the final decision. Okay. I hope that's helpful. I hope your holidays are smooth and not stressful, and that you're able to easily interpret your orders. Start looking at them now. So if you have any questions, you can ask it now before you get down to the day of the holiday. What inevitably happens is everybody's phone is ringing off the hook the night before when people are scrambling to figure this out. So I know it's only September, but now's the time for you to start figuring it out. If you'd like to learn more about my coaching services, you can go to divorceuniversityonline.com/VIP-coaching. There's a link on that page. You can book a time for a free consultation to speak with one of my staff and see how I might be able to better support you on your journey. Talk to you guys next time.